RS-26 Rubez missile, not RES,
And
RS.
technically, from Southeast Asia to Australia, you could hit it with an IRBM, so it would be intercontinental. It's just a different term.
I think this is a message to us, not to the Ukrainians. This is overkill. The Russians didn't need this missile to hit Ukraine. They were just showing that they had the ability to.
This legit was a MIRV. I'm telling you, the West saying it's not an ICBM, calm down, is to control public sentiment towards the war.
Yeah.
If they come out right now and say, this is no different, this was a MIRV, this is the first time they've used it in combat, a multiple independently targeted re-entry vehicle. It's a ballistic missile that shoots in the air and then ejects several payload that can target independent things. Depending on the power of a MIRV, you can get one that can carry 8 to 12 warheads. One rocket. It has a ridiculous amount of power, and I want to stress this. People need to understand the bombs we dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki are incredibly, incredibly weak compared to technology that was developed in the 60s. So modern nuclear weapons have around 1,250 times the explosive potential of Little Boy and Fat Man? And those were gravity bombs.
Nagasaki?
Right, those were gravity bombs. That's a bomber flies over the target and drops it, and it whistles. Then the kinetic impact, boom. Modern weapons are rockets that drop payloads that air burst and then spread all over and just, it's nuts.
And the megatons are way, 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 way more.
Yeah.
Right, and the RS-26 has a payload range of 150 kilotons to 300 kilotons, which would, if a missile of that power, just one of its warheads, unless they're multiplying by 4, but assuming that each warhead is going to be in that range, between 150 and 300 would eliminate the entire metro area of Washington, D.C.
I don't want to mince words. This is obviously an escalation. I will say, though, I do think Russia is treading lightly, though, because according to Reuters, at least, a U.S. official said Russia notified Washington before its strike. And, another official said the U.S. briefed Kyiv and its allies to prepare for the possible use of such a weapon. They did not want the Americans to confuse this for an attack on them.
Exactly.
They did not want them to.
Well, the whole point was they didn't, because the U.S. and other countries, obviously, but because the U.S. does have advanced monitoring systems, a missile like this, when it launches, it took like 5 minutes was the actual travel time, but a missile like that, within 1 minute, I read a book by, I forget the woman's name, but she was talking about what happens in a nuclear war. Just on Joe Rogan a couple months ago or whatever.
What happened?
So I read her book, and
terrifying.
And it's really good, but like they know about the launches within 30 seconds. They have a trajectory within the first few minutes. I think 7 minutes or something like that. So the Russians use the existing communication lines for nuclear launches to connect with the United States and say, hey, we're going to do this just so you know it's not a nuke.
And it's not coming to you.
Yes,
It's hitting Ukraine.
Also, it sounds like it was a warning shot from the Russians saying this could have had nukes on board, by the way.
Well, yeah.
Like a dry run. It's a dry run,
flex of capability to just show what they're capable of doing.
Well, that's all Russia has left, this kind of nuclear saber rattling. Conventionally, I think they are failing to achieve what their initial military goals were in Ukraine, and now Putin's best weapon right now is trying to scare people into thinking that he would use nuclear weapons.
And hold off for 2 months until Trump's in office. I just did post a thing, I wasn't able to confirm or deny it, but that Putin's basically saying when Trump's in office, I'm open to discussing the ceasefire. Let's get this over.
Well, I don't think it's so interesting because I hope Trump will be able to come to some sort of agreement between Putin and Zelensky, but I just don't see the interests aligning up like that. I don't think the Ukrainians want to give up any of their sovereign territory. A lot of pro-Ukrainian people still think they want to liberate Crimea, which I don't think is ever happening. While on the other side, I think it's within Putin's geopolitical interest to continue pushing west. He didn't think he got enough of Ukraine. I think he wanted to go up until at least Kiev early on in the war. I think that was his objective.
If he kept pushing, I would advocate for war against the Russians.
I think he was successful. Wait,
he kept conquering west?
Wait,
That's
if he
crazy.
got to Kiev, I mean, I think that was his goal.
If he took east of the Donbass, I understand that he wants access to the Black Sea for portage.
You think
that
he just wants up until the Donbass, though?
Yeah, I think they want to transport steel through the Black Sea into the Mediterranean.
You think he'd be satisfied with the Donbass?
20 to 30% enhance in their GDP as a result of trade.
Ian and Alad, there is a reason that NATO exists, right? Ukraine is not NATO.
Oh, I didn't say go to war with.
Okay, so but Poland is a NATO country now, right? And it borders Ukraine. You do not need to go to war for Ukraine. You do not need to go to war with Russia, like direct war with the United States and Russia for Ukraine. If they were to attack Poland, then things are different because of NATO.
It's not
Do you
about
think
Ukraine,
we should
it's
go
about
to war with Russia if they were to invade Poland? Because I think for most people, you say
That's
Ukraine,
a
you say
contractual
Poland,
agreement. You'd have to. The treaty alliance would require it.
Yeah, but that's on paper. That's on paper.
People understand the difference between NATO and non-NATO. At least I think.
Isn't that the crux of the issue?
That's
Ukraine was
the whole point of me saying this is because, like Ian said, go to war over Ukraine. The whole point is Russia doesn't want NATO expansion into Ukraine. Doesn't want the United States to go and be defending Ukraine. That's what Russia's doing. And so, like, to go to war over Ukraine.
No, it's not about Ukraine.
That's insane.
It would be about the belligerents. If he was actually trying to conquer Europe, which I don't think he is, if he showed his hand like, look, I really do want to conquer, then it's like, no,
That's-
get rid of 3.0. We're not going.
That's what I said. That's what I said. That's what I said when I said.
Right.
When I said.
It doesn't matter if Putin wants to conquer Europe or not. The wars that we're facing are not just some evil guy showing his mustache, Vladimir Putin sitting in his chair being like, "Look, we will take over Russia." No, he's saying we need access to Crimea. We are not giving up a multi-billion-dollar industrial port and where our Black Sea fleet is stationed. And this is where we do a lot of our trade. And we will secure a land bridge, and we will secure the Sea of the Sea of Azov? Is that what it's called? So, and he says we're going to have that. Then what happens is the U.S. gets involved and starts supplying weapons. Then we blow up their flagship. Then Russia says they're attacking us when we're trying to secure this resource. How do we stop them? We're going to have to push them beyond the borders of the regions we have to control. Then you get Belarus involved. Then all of a sudden, Lithuania, Latvia, Poland are saying Belarus is mobilizing and they're transporting weapons in Belarus. So Poland starts mobilizing. Now you've got Germany calling up 800,000 troops. It's not because any one side is trying to conquer. It's because there's one point where both sides bump into each other, and then they keep saying, I'm going to win. No, you're not. It's a game of chicken that both people are going to crash into each other. You don't need Putin saying, I want to take over Europe to get full-scale World War III. Putin can say to China, look, if we lose access to Sevastopol and to this base, it's going to decimate our economy, and it's going to give NATO too much control. Give us weapons and troops, and we'll end this quickly. China, now they've detained a Chinese vessel in the Baltic that Denmark is accusing of severing communications cables, which people fear may be a precursor to a larger scale attack. If China is involved and trying to grab some plausible deniability, this could escalate then with the U.S. saying, now we're going to put sanctions on China because you did this. All of it is dominoes falling over. Yeah. Nobody wants war. War is a last resort. And this is a fact. There's a lot of people are going to say, no, the war machine, they want war. I get that. I get that. The war machine makes money by selling weapons and all these things. What I'm saying is, for governments, what they want is money. For the military-industrial complex, they don't necessarily want war. They want sales. Reptile. And so for Russia, they're thinking, we want to increase our economy. We want to get more for our people. Putin's saying largely for himself. And how do you do that? Well, we need access here. NATO is saying, Russia's charging us too much and we need cheaper energy to Europe so that we can get costs down and expand the European economic bloc so that we can compete with China. So they claim. Both sides are fighting over limited resources, and it's going to be dominoes falling over, and it could potentially bubble up into something crazy unless, and this one's easy, Donald Trump intervenes in 2 months and says, we are done. It is better to accept the loss of Luhansk, Donetsk, Mariupol, and Zaporizhia, and I guess what is that also, Kherson? If it means no World War III, we don't care about Ukraine. Step back. Russia takes this territory. There's sanctions, there's penalties, whatever it might be, but there's no reason to do a tit-for-tat that expands to the point where they're going to start firing more ICBMs.
Do you believe that Russia would be satisfied with just the Donbass and Crimea?
Do you think there's some kind of aspirational goal of Soviet bloc dominance that motivates Putin?
I think they want regional borders.
100%. This is
this greater Rus ideology.
100%.
Very much into that.
Vladimir Putin is mad at the Soviet Union collapse. He didn't think it needed to happen, and he's been trying to rebuild it with the Russian Federation trade. What is it? Whatever it's called. Russian Federation trade bloc or whatever. The conflict in Ukraine, as complicated as it is, one component is that before Yanukovych was ousted, NATO and the EU were offering up deals to Yanukovych, saying, hey, open up trade with Europe, do these things, we're going to normalize your economy, it's going to be able to join the EU, Schengen, done all that, your citizens will come and go as they please. Vladimir Putin said, if you open up trade to Europe and you have free trade with us, that means Russian goods are going to flood into Russia and displace our manufacturing base. We can't have free imports. There has to be some control on it.
into Ukraine?
So let me rephrase.
You might have misspoke. You said Russian goods would flow into Russia.
I'm sorry. European goods will flow through Ukraine, and then because Ukraine has free trade with Russia, into Russia. Russia's basically saying, make a T-shirt, and they start making it cheaper over there, and then it comes into Russia, we lose out. We can't do that. So they said to Ukraine, you're going to have to choose whether you want free trade with Europe or free trade with us. Yanukovych said, oh boy, we got some leverage. The West then says, yeah, and we've got the CIA. So you get bubbling up protests. I'm not saying the CIA was directly orchestrated this. I'm saying they have soft power and manipulation telling Ukraine you're going to go this route. Yanukovych tried playing both. He gets ousted, flees to Russia. They install a more West positive government, favors NATO and the EU. Vladimir Putin says, okay, now we're going to lose access to our industrial port and our Black Sea fleet staging area, which is the naval base in Sevastopol. They are not satisfied with a single bridge in the Kerch Strait. Right, and so that got bombed recently. So Russia's thinking, we need stronger control and access to this region. So of course they're going to take these regions so they can secure Sevastopol. Many people have said, but Tim, why don't they just build in Sochi and build a naval base there? You're telling Russia abandon military technology, engineering, and a base they've been using since the Soviet Union. They're just going to say no. It's hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's control and access. They're not just giving up the technology. They're not just giving up the infrastructure. They're giving up this regional control, this regional port. So then they're going to try and take this. Now it's possible Russia tries to push in for more. I doubt it. And I think the issue is that already you have Estonia and Latvia, Lithuania, Poland. They're in NATO. And Ukraine now is inching towards it, and they're saying they want to do that. Russia's basically like, okay, so on our entire border is one military alliance. As many people have said, we would not tolerate if Russia started arming Mexicans, and the cartels were fighting stuff either. I'm not saying Russia's right. Russia's invasion was wrong. I'm just saying they may stop with taking the Donbass. And it's not just that, it's Luhansk, Donetsk, Mariupol, Kherson, Zaporizhia, and then they control
You ever look at the globe and be like, man, there's a counter to what you do.
Most of it is
Russia's like big. No, I know.
It is big. It's got more surface area than Pluto.
Yeah.
So I read on the internet one time. Well, let's do this.
And they have
Possibly
dragons.
true.
As I'm talking about Russia and the conflict, we have this story from Fox News. A caravan of 1,500 migrants forms in Mexico. It's up to reach the U.S. before President-elect Trump takes office in January. My proposal right now is any one of these individuals, in fact, name any individual from the point that Trump was formally declared the winner, should get an aggravated criminal charge under the United States. Because it is apparent now, by popular mandate, that immigration is a problem that people want to stop. The entire Rio Grande Valley, all the southern border counties said, voting Republican, major shift, make this stop. These people have outright said to themselves, the American people have rejected us. We better run full speed to kick the door in before they can stop us. I say, okay, you want to play hardball? Aggravated charges, escalated charges to some degree for knowingly coming in at this point, trying to bypass the popular mandate of these people.
It feels like we're at a crossroads when it comes to this immigration issue. Either we have a serious border that you legally cannot cross, and there will be penalties for crossing, or you do not. It's the biggest insult. It is such a spit in the face to every legal migrant that ever came to this country. For you to just cross the line and then get privileged access to, well, if you come to New York City, you're going to get a free hotel for your entire family. Will treat you very well. Not only that, you want to leave to another state, even though you may have shoplifted or committed a crime in New York, we'll buy a bus ticket for you to leave the state and go to, I don't know, some random Midwestern state where you could go and assault and then murder a jogger, a young woman, a young female jogger, and, nobody cares. This is the case of Lincoln Riley that has been significant this past year.
That video is released of the last form. it's worse than any horror movie you've ever had.
It's a little Daniel Penny also. We can talk about that maybe on the after show. His interrogation got released.
That wasn't
Different story completely,
Yeah,
but
'cause it
interesting.
wasn't an
story.
immigrant.
Yeah, the Laken Riley thing. The guy got found guilty on 10 counts.
He was found guilty of multiple things before this. He came here illegally. He was given all of these accommodations in New York City. He committed crimes in New York City. He was given a bus ticket to leave New York City to, I forget which state he eventually went to.
Georgia?
I think
I
it was
don't wanna
Georgia.
guess.
No, I do believe it was Georgia, where he was living next to a college campus where Joggin, Laken Riley was.
And now the American
didn't
girl's
feel
dead
that way at the
because of
time.
that. I think what's the ultimate deterrence? Force. A force on the border. You know, it's just about, can the American people, I don't want to spark a revolution inside the country because people are like, you can't harm them!
Can an American stomach a mass deportation effort from Donald Trump?
Test has find out.
Well, here's the thing. You have to also understand that you can make easily common sense distinctions between criminals, violent criminals, and prioritize who you're going to deport. And because even practically speaking, there's certain things you can do before you start. Not to say that crossing the border illegally is not a crime, but there is a prioritization of violent criminals and going and being able to have that conversation honestly. You can do that. What's interesting is that during the campaign, like Kamala Harris was trying to outperform Trump on her stance on immigration out of nowhere. Remember, what was interesting was that today, 2016, 2020, Trump's views on immigration were seen as totally controversial, xenophobic, racist. And then the common sense meter moved in his favor, and the Democrats were trying to say, we're good at now. And now that he's won, but Biden's still president, what's happened? It's really interesting. They just dropped that as
In 2016, when Trump first started talking about immigration, I had no sense that immigration was a problem. Right? Like, I had no. I was like, really? Is there a problem with immigration? I'm being from New England. You know, like it wasn't something that touched my area, part of the country, very. You know, at least very.
spoke about it rather provocatively, but
He did. But
they're bringing drugs. They're bringing drugs.
the truth of the matter is, he was right. And not only was he right then, the Democrats doubled down on all their policies. And I talked about this multiple times, but I'm going to talk about it again. The HHS, the Department of Health and Human Services, has a program called the Refugee Resettlement Program. You can go to their website and look it up. The last time it was updated was 2021. And this program is the program that they use to take people that come to the country and say, I'm looking for asylum. And they put them on planes, they put them on buses, and they send them to places that are purple states. So they were sending them to Ohio. That's why Springfield, Ohio got all the attention they did, because they were sending people using tax money, using federal dollars to relocate these people to places with the intent, with the goal of turning them from purple to blue. And that's what Elon Musk has talked about, and people were saying, oh, that's not true. And if you are interested in looking to find out about the program, like I said, you can go to the HHS website. It's called the Refugee Resettlement Program. It is as real as all of us sitting around the table, and this is something that the government is doing, not just Democrats.
The battle against the sorcerers was your first real fight.
It was a baptism by fire, Sizov.
Round 1. Fight! Finish him. Reptile wins. Reiko. Kano.
You turned a blind eye to Shang Tsung's evil.
Blind eye. I encouraged it.
Round one. Fight. Round two. Fight. Scorpion. Darius.
How deadly is your sting, Scorpion?
May that be a fact you never learn.
Round one. Fight. Reptile wins. Baraka. Serena.
Your help freed my people. I must repay you.
Start by going easy on me.
Round one. Fight. Round two. Fight. Finish him. Reptile wins. Melina. Cyrax.
What's being done to Zeterans like you is abominable.
Then the crown will put an end to it?
Round one. Fight. Round two. Fight. Round 1. Fight.
Such a bitter taste.
Round 2. Fight. Final round. Fight. Finish him. Melina wins.
You should bring Ash.
Round 1. Fight. Finish him. Reptile wins. Sub-Zero. Jax.
Do you hate being reptiloid? Is that why you mimic us?
It's to hide from warmbloods who hate me for being one.
Round 1. Fight. Round 2. Your fight. Final round. Fight! Finish him!